Pressure. Noun. The difficulties and worries that are caused by the need to achieve or behave in a particular way. The way someone reacts or responds to pressure is always going to be different. Some people will rise and apply themselves, cutting out the sound, others fall. And in the case of one of Nintendo's biggest first-party releases last year, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, there was a lot of pressure on them to get the game right, considering the high pedigree of the franchise. But did Retro Studios crack under the pressure whilst making Metroid Prime 4? Honestly, I don't think so. Yes, there was a lot of hype and skepticism behind Prime 4, but over my years having followed the discourse of the game on the internet, a lot of people were saying, just let the game be good, and give us more Metroid Prime, and that is exactly what Retro Studios did. I am a recent Metroid fan, having only gotten into the series during the past few years, having played almost all the 2D games and only Metroid Prime Remastered from the Prime series, and the series has quickly become one of my favorites. That is a disclaimer to you, the viewer, that my takes on the entirety of the Prime series is not really the full picture since I'm lacking both 2 and 3, but my takes here will be from a more casual perspective. And I have to say that I do think this might be the most accessible Metroid game. I'll get to my review on the game in a bit, just you wait, because first, the general consensus, the public opinion. On review aggregator site Metacritic, Metroid Prime 4 sits at a critic score of 79 out of 100, the lowest out of the numbered Prime games. Giant Bomb gave it a perfect score, ranking it as highly as the OG Metroid Prime, and alongside Super Metroid, saying that it's the game that is the closest to the former game's tone, gameplay, and quality. IGN scored it an 8, saying it had very high highs and nailing the core elements that make Metroid Prime what it is, but also some strong lows that felt out of place. SkillUp did not recommend the game, citing the failure to evolve upon the Prime and even Metroidvania formula and the open world fetch quest as the game's biggest flaws. So you see, the game is rated all over the place when it comes to ratings, and on the user side, it's just like that as well. On the game tracking website Backlogged, where users can log and rate the games from a 1 to 5 star scale, including half stars, all scores between 3 and 4.5 stars sit closely around the 20% range, which are slim margins. Having the scores be this close means that it's going to be hard to determine whether or not you like the game because of it being all over the place, but you can be sure that the game will at least be okay. Me personally, well, I did enjoy the game a fair amount. Not the worst Metroid game I've played, but not the best one either. I'd put it somewhere between Zero Mission and Fusion, which are both good games. Prime 4 nailed two things which I think are the most important, being the art and music, creating the vibes. You can't have a Metroid game without these. Areas like Vault Forge and Fury Green look and sound beautiful, they're just so heavenly to explore. Then there are the moments, for instance, when you turn on the power and ice belt where the music kicks in, which is also a standout. Flare Pool is right behind these other areas in both these departments. Gameplay wise, the game is fun with that classic Prime feel. Lots of fun stuff to scan to learn more about the world, with great lore for the Lemorne tribe and planet Buros. I just wanted to keep learning more about this planet. For puzzles, I really enjoyed using the psychic abilities, not just because of the purple color scheme looking cool, but moving stuff around with your mind and the psychic shot are great tools for puzzles. The latter, the psychic shot, is also used in certain boss fights, and these fights, although may overstay their welcome whenever they happen, they are great fun, figuring out the puzzle of the boss and their attack patterns. Now for the two controversial elements leading up to release, the NPCs and the Viola bike. I enjoyed interacting with both. The NPCs aren't nearly as present as some people have made them out to be, and the talkative to silent dynamic they have with Samus leads to some fun moments at times. As for the bike, it actually controls quite well, and for cool factor alone, it gets a pass from me. However, I don't only have positive stuff to say about the game. Back to the NPCs. Dialogue-wise, it's a bit infuriating having an NPC blatantly state what I should do next whilst I'm on my way to do that exact thing, and the writing of some of the characters just feels a bit out of place, I don't know. That leads on to the main plot of the game, and yeah, it just feels like it's a side thing, grasping at straws to bring the world, characters, Samus, and story together, but in a lackluster manner. Cinematics for the game look great and incredible, but if the driving factor behind it is not so strong, the impact is less felt. There is also an overabundance of scanning in the game. You don't need to scan everything in this game to get the 100% scan rating, but there are just way too many things to scan that change scannability upon certain conditions, like being turned on or off, and it's too much. Speaking of text, the naming conventions in this game, mainly the main areas, are bad. I'm sorry. These are the worst named places I've seen in the game. They sound very generic and don't roll off the tongue very well, bar Vault Forge, and it's a bit frustrating. Now for the two final drawbacks of the game, and they both relate to the massive open area connecting the levels, Sol Valley. Sol Valley is just boring. There are some puzzles and unlocks scattered around here, but it's just monotonous. Rolling hills of nothing, simple puzzles, boring layouts. I know deserts are meant to be void of life and the like, but there has to be something that can be done to have made this more enjoyable, and that's why they added the green crystals. Scattered around the desert are these green crystals for you to collect, and the game does make it pretty evident that you've got to collect them by being present in the main menu and being encouraged to go back and give them to the tree by the NPCs. However, towards the end game, the sheer quantity the game asks you to collect is just horrendous. I spent a good 20 to 30 minutes in the endgame collecting these crystals, and it doesn't help that the game doesn't make it clear to you you can use power bombs to destroy the bigger crystals to collect more of them. Honestly, it was a massive low point for me, arguably one of the worst fetch quests. These aren't all my highs and lows on how I feel about this game. I'll get into them a bit more in depth as the video goes on, but for now, that's my short review on Prime 4. Some pretty good goods and some bad bads. With such highs and lows all over the place, it does lead to the next question. What's next for Retro Studios and the Prime series? Will Nintendo let Retro have another go at making a new Prime game? Will Retro's next game be a follow-up to Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze? Or will we see a brand new IP from Retro? There are a lot of outcomes. There is even a possibility that we can see Retro be used as a monolith soft, helping Nintendo's other big games in certain aspects. As to what I'd like to see Retro make, I'll answer that later in the video, but for now, I'll say this. I am excited for what Retro's next project will be, and I fully trust them to be able to make an incredible game. I know that there is a lot of doom and gloom surrounding Prime 4. It's the lowest rated game of the mainline Prime games, as mentioned earlier, but it's also Retro's lowest rated game ever. Review scores don't always paint the full picture of the product at hand. Plus, it's all very subjective, like how I mentioned the backlog scores earlier. So I'll start by saying that Retro nailed, and I mean absolutely nailed, 3 of the core elements that make a Prime game: the art design and direction, the sound design of the world, and the music. Now, although it wasn't fully consistent, as Flare Pool and Great Minds weren't the most groundbreaking or aesthetic areas out there, but the 3-area run of Fury Green, Vault Forge, and Ice Belt simply stunning. In fact, we can also lump in the music here too, because these 3 areas have the best songs in the game too. The vibes in these 3 areas are just breathtaking to say the least. The abundance of life in Fury Green, the beautiful isolation throughout the Ice Belt, and the constant thunderstorms and scale of Vault Forge. Add the small visual touches like the rain sliding off Samus's arm or how it freezes over. Retro really knows how to make you feel immersed in their worlds, and the soundtrack, in my opinion, is one of the strongest in gaming. Even with some dull moments like the ambient desert music or the repetitive Griever battle theme, the highs really carry this game to another level in terms of music, and listening to the world itself is also beautiful. The sounds the creatures make, the footsteps, blaster sounds, impacts, it all sounds incredible with some good headphones. Again, this is the problem I have with looking at simple review scores, because a 7 or 8 out of 10 score doesn't highlight the incredible highs this game manages to reach, because at times it does feel like a 10 out of 10 experience. Another reason I fully trust Retro is for something that was already evident with their remaster of Metroid Prime 1, and that is, they know how to fully optimize their games around Nintendo's hardware and push it to the limit. In terms of performance, there is no Nintendo game that runs as good as Prime 4 while looking this good. I tried both performance and quality modes, and sure, 120 frames per second is crazy to see for a Nintendo game, but the 60 frames with 4K is just stunning to witness. Even in handheld mode, the game looks great, and although there are quite a few secret loading screens to load into different areas, they're fast and you can skip a few of them by mashing the A button whilst they're loading, and all this with a consistent frame rate that doesn't drop. Retro wizardry right there. I can't talk about the Switch 1 version of the game, but from the footage that I've seen, it does look very good on it as well. On the flip side, those same review scores also don't highlight the low points of the game. Seeing a 7 out of 10, you may just think the game is just average, but that's not the case of Metroid Prime 4 at all. As I said in my review section, incredibly high highs and some low lows, and sometimes the game just feels bad. First up, level design, and I'll just lump in the fetch quest here as well, since that is level design. Kind of. Although the levels were very fun to play and each area had their incredible moments, the levels are mostly linear, because it takes a long time to move from one area to another, as you have to cross the desert to move between them. Retro made the design choice to keep you staying in the main level for as long as possible, hence making them linear. Yes, it's wondrous to see the world of Euros, but there is no real looping level design that connects it all together. There are backtracking moments, but those require you to go back to Mackenzie in in Fury Green to upgrade your cannon shot to then go back out to the other area to unlock the next section, and that's super tedious. I would have much preferred the desert to be gone entirely, make these areas slightly bigger and connect them in a more meaningful fashion, like in Prime 1 for instance. There's also the fetch quest in the endgame that's not fun, just do away with it, it's simple as that. It's not fun, necessary, or helps you love the world. Maybe add like a secret boss in each area once you're in the endgame, which you must beat to unlock the endgame. I don't know, just anything but the green crystals. Writing is another issue I have, but not exactly with who you think. My main issue with the writing in the game is with Samus. Don't get me wrong, Samus is an incredible silent protagonist, and she's just so cool without ever having to say a single word. It fits in a game like Metroid Dread, where there is no one for her to talk to, but she does say a powerful sentence later on in Dread, which is already more than Prime 4, which has way more people for Samus to interact with. Prime 4's writing issue is that the cutscenes are directed in a way where the characters are talking to Samus, where she is expected to respond and say something, yet she doesn't. Sure, it does lead to some funny moments where the characters live into Samus' silent nature, but a lot of the times, it's not the most entertaining. It would have been a lot better if Samus was written to be an observer in these conversations, or, and this might sound crazy, but have Samus speak. That would mean you would have to tone back a lot of the dialogue, because I do agree you can't have Samus talking all the time. You have to make her words feel impactful. As for the rest of the NPCs, the Galactic Federation troops, I honestly didn't mind their presence. In fact, I did enjoy them quite a bit. I wish the seriousness was bumped up a bit more in their conversations. Yes, it is quite amusing to see Mackenzie and Armstrong fanboy and fangirl about seeing Samus, but if more of them acted like Tokabi, treating Samus as a peer of their same caliber, it would have helped the storytelling a lot more. Not overtly serious like Duke, otherwise you suffer from the game trying to take itself way too seriously. Finally, just a quick one, I do wish there'd be less hints given out or make the hint system optional. Many times I would be on my way to do something to progress the game before Mackenzie would call and tell me to do that exact same thing that I'm doing in that moment to progress. These are my main issues that I think Retro should fix for the next Prime game, although not a lot of things, improving upon these would make a massive difference. And another quick one, but Retro could innovate and add a real cool twist. Psychic powers would be cool and all, but imagine having a time travel system, having to travel between the past era and present era of heroes to explore the game, or something like that. Something to spice it up, you know? A Nintendo twist, if you can call it that. So back to the original question, what's next for Retro Studios? Well, I mean, no spoilers, but based on the ending, we can assume that Retro will be working on Metroid Prime 5 next, and I think that's a great thing. Yes, I would love to see Retro bring their expertise to something else. Just imagine a new Donkey Kong Country with Retro's incredible art, and that's honestly Retro's biggest strength right now. Their art direction and pushing Nintendo's system to their graphical limits. If we look at Retro's two latest rumored, leaked, or officially cancelled games, I'm not sure of the officiality of this, but they were Star Fox Armada and Harmony. Both of these seem, from what I've read, to have very distinct and colorful art styles. Imagine letting Retro finally make a Legend of Zelda game that they've been wanting to make for so long, or having them act as a support studio for other major titles. With what they have right now, I do think Prime 5 is a good project for them to work on next. Remember, Prime 4 is Retro's first new original game since Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze from 2014 on the Wii U. 11 years. So let them work on Prime 5, iron out their mistakes, and let them get back into the groove of making games again from start to finish, fixing their mistakes and perfecting their strengths before letting them tackle another style of game. We could see a Prime 5 in 4 years, I'd say, and if that's the case, I would be pretty excited because I trust Retro Studios. And with that, welcome to the end of the video. Been a while since making a video essay this long again, but it felt good. I think this is the direction I want to take my content in since I love talking about video games and being excited about them. Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed the video. Leave a like or dislike if you enjoyed or didn't enjoy the video. Be sure to leave a comment with your thoughts on Metroid Prime 4 and the Prime series in general, and your thoughts on Retro Studios. Finally, a subscribe comes a long way in helping me out and would be much appreciated if you want to see more from me. Anyways, I'm going to head off and finish some games from a very fun video game series in preparation for next month's video, so I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching and hope to see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your day, night, and week, and with that, Storm out.